Hi, Anupama.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
I hope I'm able to contribute in some way.
You definitely will.
Mm.
So let me introduce you to our viewers in a brief manner. Our guest for today, Dr. Anupama Belsari, is a physician who's done her MBBS and MD from Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. She believes in equality for all, honesty, and respect for everyone, irrespective of status. And believe me, I've seen her walk the talk. Her strength is her ability to adapt to whatever comes her way, going with the flow, as she puts it, unless it gets in the way of her perfectionism streak. A bit of a paradox, I felt, but that describes Anupama perfectly. She has two lovely daughters, and she has now dedicated all her time to them. But in the course of it, she still found time to do her master's in psychology, which she plans to use in the counseling of patients with chronic illnesses. So, welcome, Anupama,
Thank you,
and
Ram.
it will be a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you, Ramya.
So, let's start with something about you.
Okay.
What is the biggest achievement till date you feel you have achieved?
Um, biggest achievement, I would not be able to very specify that I became this or I did that, and this is what I was like, I was dreaming of doing all my life. I think I should be saying that my biggest achievement is to date that my friends and family, who is a very big circle, and I hope I don't have too many enemies. My friends and family have come to trust me. They have come to rely on me, which speaks volumes in the way that even in my in-laws house, my in-laws, all Kiran's cousins and members, they trust me. They have faith more in me than even in Kiran. So that I feel is my achievement, that I have been able to instill confidence about my capabilities in all those people who are around me.
Definitely, and that's a bigger achievement than so many others, I feel.
Yeah.
But who do you think has influenced you in this journey?
That's my mom. There is no doubt about that in my mind, because since my childhood I remember my mother instilling these principles, or I should say these values, in me by both by practice and by example of herself, and by anecdotes that she would talk about from of her sisters, her upbringing, where she always said that being able to be a good human being is beyond everything.
Let's say that you have to describe yourself in three words.
Mhm.
So, how would you describe yourself? What adjectives would you give to yourself?
I'm loyal, I'm dependable, and I won't say I'm fun loving, though I do enjoy fun. Yeah, but loyal and dependable, yes.
And have you always been this way? If you think back
Yeah,
to your college
yeah,
days.
yeah. Since my school days, I'm very sure I was a very dependable student. Like, my sister, younger sister, was in the same school. She's 3 years younger to me. Even in
Mm.
school, when my parents were like, my father was in office and for some reason couldn't make it to a parent teacher meeting, I was given a diary which I would just take to the class teachers of my sister and tell them, ki, ma'am, my father can't come, so would you please just like put down your notes in here. And they would always say, oh, it's your sister, no, nothing to worry about. And they would put positive remarks for me. It was like, always, always it was like Anupama's sister. So that's the standard, to such an extent that she started at some point resenting it. Why am I always being compared to Anupama? Why can't I have my own entity? It's only when my father got posted to a different city, where we went to a different school, people did
Mm.
not know me. There she established an identity of herself on her own merit. Otherwise, still, we were in that school where I was from nursery to class 8. I was the standard where my sister always took was played second fiddle. And my teachers loved me so much that when my father got posted, one of my teachers said that we are very sorry to lose a student like Anupama, because we don't have hostel facilities. And if I had my way, I would have asked you to keep her with me in my house as my ward, but somehow that is not possible. So I can't even say that to you. But they love me so much; they wanted me to stay back in that school. So since childhood, I'm very sure since childhood I have never given trouble to anybody. I have always lived up to expectations of my teachers. I mean, even at that age.
But I feel for Chetna. Being
Yeah.
a younger child myself, I feel for
Yes,
her.
yes, yes. So see, in those years when she was like, see, that was just for about 2 years,
Mm,
like till eight, like she was overshadowed. After that, when we switched schools and she came into her own, then also at home, because I'm the elder one, because my parents would trust my judgment. Occasionally they would override her demands to towards my this thing, my
mhm,
explanations of not agreeing to it. So she would resent me. But then once we went to college and she was in the same college, I became her local guardian. And then
mm,
there were times when my parents weren't allowed, so she would ask me for some advice or something.
mm,
Then of course we took two different paths. She started independently making her decisions and things like that.
mm,
And after she got married, to I obviously took a back seat. It was more of her family, my parents, those people who were discussing. But
mm,
now today she has a separate entity altogether. She's in a different field altogether. Now we don't interfere into each other's field. We don't advise each other onto their professional fields. And as far as home front is concerned, it's now more of a compatibility thing, like we're friends, and she asks my advice in something, I ask her advice in something, we delegate responsibilities to each other. So now all we are at par. It wasn't so when she was a child.
Do you have any favorite incident from your childhood?
Regarding,
Anything, nothing specific, anything.
no, nothing very specific. It was a fun filled childhood. We enjoyed ourselves like to the T. ऐसा मतलब there was not a single day when we wouldn't go out to play because my father was in central government service, so we had big huge houses with a big compound, and a closed
Mm,
colony. So there was really not too much of a security issue when we were not allowed to go out. So we would simply, till it was sundown or even later, we would just play outside, in the garden,
mm.
jumping walls, jumping fences, playing hide and seek behind trees. Oh, we had a fun-filled life, with a childhood. I till class 10th, I did not know what it was to worry about the next day. We were so happy.
And safe? Would you say you had a safe childhood?
Yeah, I don't remember any incident where anybody at that, till I, like I said, class 10th, when I was in my home in that environment, I never felt that uh, I couldn't, I couldn't be go out somewhere because it was not safe. ऐसा कोई
Mm,
feeling नहीं आया. With all my all my friends who were there, they were like, the boys were also a part of that group. But never
mm,
did I feel unsafe with anybody, or never did anybody say anything to hurt me in a very gender biased kind of way. That wasn't there.
mm,
my se- my definition of a safe space is the knowledge that I will not be judged if I was to, you know not judged by what I am doing. That is one. If
mm,
something untoward was to be happen, I would not be judged by saying that it's my fault. It will be judged on merit of what I'm saying. If I was to ever report an incident, my parents would never disbelieve me saying that no, this could not have happened or you are exaggerating. That would never have happened. I don't know what they would have done after that
mm,
had I reported something, but
mm,
I knew it, that if I was to ever tell them something, they would believe me.
mm,
That security I had. So there was no there. And that, for me, that is the safe space, the
mm,
knowledge a child has, that the child is accepted in totality, and their judgment is not questioned, in the sense that, you know like we tend to say, no, 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 they must be exaggerating, it must be a small thing which they are blowing out of proportion or something like that. No, that thing, that should not be there. For me, a safe space is where a child is comfortable, confident in the knowledge that they will be heard, they will not be judged. So, equality for me would be one, equality of opportunity. Two, like you say, gender, there should be no gender bias. For me, if a woman wants to do something, there should be no criteria saying that this is a man's field and you cannot do it. This requires this sort of a, this requires physical strength, this requires a more stronger emotional thing. So you cannot do it. That should not be there. So there also, I believe in a gender equality. And if I talk about equality of all family members, now this is, you know, the child has the right to be heard. See, yes, I feel that there are people who feel that because they are so and so, they are entitled to certain things. I guess people who know you are more likely to take advantage than rank outsiders. It's because we always teach our children in any case to be wary of strangers. So their antennas are up. So for a rank outsider to do it would probably be an outright event. The subtle offenses that we talk about are more likely to happen in your close circle, or at least in the circle where the child knows that person and the guard is down. The people you trust are the ones who take advantage of you. Even flashing your organ in front of a female is abuse. Implementation of the laws, if strictly followed, if timely given, can be a deterrent, but only to a certain extent. If the offense is committed today and you punish the person 10 years later, it loses its relevance. So one, the justice has to be given in a fast pace wala manner. That's one. And two, only by strict punishment you will not be able to achieve it, because a large segment will never get reported, so they will never be tried for it, and they will never be proved culprits. In addition to the implementation of the laws, it is also important to probably teach the guys that this is wrong, and that should be started at a very early age. The impact will definitely remain for a very, very long time, but it is possible for the child to recover with support of the family and friends, and maybe professional counseling. So the victim feels ashamed to open up, feels that she's stigmatized because she's undergone that. So till that feeling of shame and stigma doesn't go, there will be a lot of trauma. But as more and more cases are now being reported, as now more and more people are coming out into the open, the victim has started realizing, the child has started realizing that it is wrong, and yes, I can talk about it. I can talk about it. And once they start opening up and they get support from the family, they should be able to recover. Somewhere at the back of their mind it will be there, okay, but they will be able to move on. That's more important. Given proper counseling and proper support, the victim will be able to move on. The problem only is that we never know they are victims because they don't speak up. Nobody is going to the police.
No.
or maybe meaning to say nobody's going to be lodging a complaint or initiating any
Okay.
sort of action under the act, under
Hmm.
POCSO Act. Even because the child will be named, they probably will not use it.
Hmm.
चाचा हो सकता है, रिलेशन सगा चाचा ना हो सकता है वो पड़ोस के अंकल हो. अपने यहाँ तो हर किसी को चाचा बोलते हैं, हर किसी को भैया बोलते हैं. So from that movie, it was not very clear who चाचा that was. So it could just be a पड़ोस का चाचा. So, but the boy being named will
Not be
probably
accepted.
not be accepted. You have to take a stand.
So calling them out.
Yes, bilkul. And I'm very sure that 50% of people who, sort of do it because they are anonymous will be scared of exposure and will not do it. But you have to point that finger to them, and then and there. I'm Rakshan.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So let me formally thank you.
Thank you.
Both to you and to our viewers for joining us in this session on Safe Spaces. This is a campaign that we are running from SBox for the Rakshan project by Sakshi. And this is in partnership with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. And here we are skill building 18 to 22 years youth to recognize, identify, address, de-escalate, report, and resolve sexual violence in the family and communities. And we are doing this in the hope that we can create a world free of child sexual abuse. The campaign is to make aware the fact that 90% of the sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, takes place within the trusted circles. And yet it is severely underreported. And therefore, the law cannot do anything till the crime is reported. So your voice will help to amplify this work and give visibility to the fact that why is child sexual abuse not reported, what to do if it is not reported, and what is the role of family and the bystanders. So thank you very much, Anupama.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed having you here.
Thank you so much.